Good morning, dear students. Today we are going to study what are the barriers to entrepreneurship. Most of the successful entrepreneurs, they create a business plan, which is a formal document that contains a statement of purpose, a description of the products or services to be offered, a market analysis, and a final projection and some management procedures that have to be designed in order to attain a certain firm's objectives. Before they can write a business plan, most of the entrepreneurs must be aware about the barriers to entry. Let us take up these barriers one by one. As you can look at the list of the barriers from this particular slide, they are corrupt and unsupportive business environment, employee-related difficulties, severe market entry regulations, shortage of funds and resources, lack of entrepreneurship opportunities, lack of entrepreneurial capacity, training, technical and practical skills are missing, lack of market experience, fear of failure, and aversion to risk. The first is unsupportive business environment. Lack of supportive and market augmenting government regulations are a barrier to entrepreneurship. For example, Russia leads all other large nations in having a very unsupportive business environment because they lack the rule of law. They enforce regulations but inconsistently, allow corruption and bribing, and also allow regulatory authorities and inspectors to act in a predatory manner, which requires friendly ties with government officials. I think you already know that, and bureaucrats to smooth the way for the businesses to operate. So that means government officials and bureaucrats have to be bribed so that the business can move on smoothly. So, such an unsupportive business environment. Employee related difficulties. Building an employee asset, which is called the human index for the enterprise, is one of the most daunting and overlooked tasks. Entrepreneurs must find the best qualified employees who are motivated and willing to grow with the business venture. The next is market entry regulations. Government rules, taxation, environmental regulations, lending requirements, and licensing, these are the barriers to entrepreneurship. Most of the countries, they license market entry and the creation of the new firms so that they can protect the incumbents. That means the people who are starting their business absolutely new in certain industries and professions. Other barriers are predatory tax behavior of authorities, who make other people a victim. They are called predatory. Lack of property rights and tax disadvantages. Very important barrier is the lack of capital or the shortage of funds and resources. Finding the money to start up an enterprise is a leading barrier to entrepreneurship. Without funds, a person cannot organize, train, develop, and sell products. So you know that capital or financial support has to be there due to for the entrepreneur to start off with his business. Lack of entrepreneurship opportunities. Venture creation requires existing marketplace opportunities with possibilities known to the entrepreneur and favorable odds for success for entrepreneurial spirit to succeed. So for the new venture creation model, you need to have the right business model. You need to also tackle sales, funding, and opportunities. Another important barrier is the lack of entrepreneurial capacity. Entrepreneurs, they start off with the business, but they lack those qualities, the willingness, the motivation to initiate a new venture. Opportunities, sometimes they go untried because they do not have that eye to tap the right kind of opportunity. Many cultures are also there who do not encourage entrepreneurial capacity, thus resulting in a low rate of entrance. Lack of adequate entrepreneurship training. Training and education, as you know, is highly essential to sharpen the skills, knowledge, and abilities of an employee. So, training is required in technical skills, as you can see from here, and also it is required in managerial skills. So, lacking appropriate skills and knowledge ultimately brings about low economic development. So lack of appropriate technical and practical skills is a very important obstacle, because it has been seen that many of the entrepreneurs, they lack that initiative, and they are not able to have that tact, that competence, or that ability, or that risk appetite, due to which they can bring about a better development of their enterprise. Then difficult access to market experience. The essence of leadership is learning and doing before leading. Capability to start a business is propelled by previous education and work experience. If you do not have the experience, then in that case, it could be a problem. So, experience is positively correlated with success. The more the person is experienced, the better is his success rate. Fear of failure. Most of the entrepreneurs, they have this particular fear of failure and aversion to risk. That is, it is a psychological barrier. They have to take initiative, they have to have the risk appetite. If they do not have the risk appetite, then they can never succeed. So acceptance of failure is very, very important. Entrepreneurs have to be risk takers, while those who are risk aversive will seek the security in an existing establishment. So here we have understood what are the barriers to entrepreneurship. Now I will come to the fears of entrepreneur. Fear is an unpleasant feeling which is triggered by the perception of danger, threat, which can be real, which can be imagined. You know, our human psyche is gripped by fear. And when we feel fear, it helps us to avoid calamity, it keeps us safe. But fear can also hold us back if we let it, grip us completely. So, what are the various fears of an entrepreneur? One is the fear of failure. I just discussed it, that something may go wrong. So, the best way to overcome this fear is to accept that failure, even for the most gifted entrepreneurs. Because with failures will come the strength, the courage, the wisdom, and the knowledge. Fear of being wrong. This is a common fear among the entrepreneurs, and it is a bit subtle than the fear of failure. While the fear of failure can prevent you from starting a business, the fear of being wrong can cause you to pursue a business strategy which is foolhardy, even when it is crystal clear that you need to change your approach. So, to overcome this fear, you need to recognize this as a problem which can harm your business and put aside your ego, that you have to stick to a particular course of action only. Try and explore various ways by which you can tackle the problem rather than only following one particular way. Fear of not being an expert. Many people, they fear that I am not an expert in this area, so most of the decisions are left behind. Well, nobody is an expert, and this fear can limit your potential as an entrepreneur. So you need to learn, you need to find the answers to them. Fear of being pushed into uncomfortable situation. Think of yourself asking to present some make a presentation in front of in front of a group of people, and you may feel that it is an uncomfortable situation and how will I deal with it. So with practice, this fear can be easily overcome. So we need to come out of our comfort zones, but this will not happen if we have the right kind of mindset and prepping up to take up this challenge. A fear of risk. Risk can pay off success, but there is an important difference between dangerous, unmitigated risk and thoughtful or calculated risk. Dangerous risk is something very impulsive, just like a gambler. He takes that particular risk. But with calculated risk, you calculate, you strategize every step. Every step is calculated. So one must move incrementally towards their goal, assessing their level of investment and overhead. That means you should know that this much investment I have, this much of capital I have, so I can take this much amount of risk. So you have calculated your risk and returns beforehand. So that is very important. Fear of unknown. Uncertainty registers in our brain like a blaring alarm. We often avoid the unknown because we feel that there can be a change. We are afraid of losing control and being unable to manage potential outcomes. So, allowing ourselves to take a massive leap into the unknown is terrifying because there is no guarantee how things will turn out. The unknown will certainly lead to some kind of change. So, in case you are interested in discovering the change, you need to overcome this fear of unknown. So, from this slide, you can see the fear of failure, and it has also been put in to live a creative life, we should lose our fear of being wrong, right? We should not feel that if we go wrong, what will happen. Always think that if we are going wrong, it will bring a new it will bring new information, it will bring knowledge, and we can discover something innovative. Fear of not being an expert, as I already informed you, that fear of not being an expert, you it can limit your potential as an entrepreneur. And never remain in your comfort zone. Try to explore challenges in your life. So entrepreneurial risk is just an easy choice between fear of falling down and a chance to take off. So with this, I come to an end to my presentation. I hope you have been able to understand the barriers to entrepreneurship and the fears which are involved in entrepreneurship. Thank you and have a good day.